There's just a few days left to go before one of gaming's most iconic platforming mascots makes his long-awaited return, so I thought it was time to take a look back at Crash's history, see which parts still hold up and which parts, well, not so much. As someone who has played the ever-loving hell out of the Crash Bandicoot games for as long as I can remember, there have always been some levels that I liked more than others, and some levels that I honestly can't stand the thought of replaying. So today, we're going to be taking a look at the top 5 best and worst Crash Bandicoot levels. Okay, don't get me wrong. I absolutely love Coco's jet ski levels in Crash Bandicoot Warped. They're a nice change of pace from the usual platforming gameplay, and they control really well. However, not all levels are created equal, and so we have the secret level, Hot Cocoa. As a secret level, there is no crystal to obtain. Instead, all you can do is either break all of the crates for a gem, or attempt a time trial in order to obtain a relic. This wouldn't be so bad if it weren't for two things. Firstly, Hot Cocoa is a secret level, so if you miss a few boxes, well, tough shit, you've got to go find the secret entrance again. This wouldn't be so bad if it weren't for the fact that the level itself is fucking boring. It's just Coco jet skiing around at sunset with no real objective. There are some obnoxiously difficult levels in Crash Bandicoot Warped, but at least those levels are interesting. Hot Cocoa is about as interesting as an unbuttered piece of toast. Wrath of Cortex is a very polarizing game. Some people love it, others hate it. Personally, I fall somewhere in the middle, because seriously, this game had some awesome levels. But for me, the best level in the game was level 12. Tsunami. Aside from the fact that you're playing as Coco Bandicoot, who controlled like a nerfed version of Crash in Wrath of Cortex, Tsunami is an incredibly fun level. It starts off with just regular platforming, then quickly moves on to a chase scene where Coco has to outrun a fucking tidal wave on a scooter. It's not even a motorized scooter or anything, she's pushing that shit with her foot and somehow outrunning a goddamn tidal wave. Coco must be hella swole under those dungarees.
How do you do, fellow kids?
Crash Bandicoot 2 was an excellent game, one of my favourites in the entire series, but even games as good as this one have that one level. May I present the worst level of Crash Bandicoot 2? Cold Hard Motherfucking Crash. If you're interested in getting the true 100% ending, then this level is your goddamn worst nightmare. With 155 boxes, Cold Hard Crash has the highest crate count of not just Crash Bandicoot 2, but of the entire Naughty Dog trilogy. And to make matters worse, 23 of those boxes are found in a death route, and one of those 23 boxes is hidden just off screen, so it's very easy to miss it. So, imagine going through this entire level, passing all of the difficult obstacles, and smashing what you think is every box in the level, only to find out right at the end that you missed one box.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again.
The first Crash game is far from the best in the series, but the hog riding levels are fucking awesome. I decided to give the fourth best slot to Hog Wild, but pretty much any of the hog levels could have qualified. From the creepy face Crash pulls at the beginning, to the incredibly fun hog riding gameplay, which will be replicated in Crash 2 and 3, with the catchy background music as the cherry on top. Crash Bandicoot's hog riding levels are the best levels in the game. I just wish there were more of them, and less levels like Native Fortress and Slippery Climb.
Look at that booty, show me the booty, give me the booty, I want the booty.
Okay, so what's the shittiest reward you could possibly be given for obtaining a certain amount of time relics? In my opinion, the shittiest reward you could obtain is a crappier rehash of an earlier level. And thus, we get Nighttime from Crash Bandicoot for Wrath of Cortex. Okay, So take Crash's level, The Gauntlet, change the lighting to be pitch black, move a few enemies and obstacles around, and have the player control Coco Bandicoot instead. As I already mentioned in my segment about Tsunami, in Wrath of Cortex, Coco was just Crash with fewer abilities, which is a serious disappointment and something that I'm glad Vicarious Visions are fixing with her inclusion in Insane Trilogy. Although the level isn't technically mandatory, you will have to play it multiple times if you want to get the true ending for collecting all of the gems and relics, and having to play what is essentially a hard mode version of an existing level just to get the true ending of the game is bullshit. Crash Twinsanity is a very underrated game. Fanbase seems to be very split on this one though. Some of them consider it to be the last good Crash game, while others consider it to be the first truly bad Crash game. As for my opinion on it, well, you'll have to wait for another video to find out that one, but I can't deny that Slipslide Ice Capades is a fun level. For one thing, the level starts with you giving Cortex a much deserved kick up the arse, and then for the rest of the level, you just snowboard down a snowy hill while riding on his back. That's what you get for having such a shitty boss fight in Crash 2, you asshole! Whenever I replay Crash Twinsanity, I always look forward to Slipslide Ice Capades. It's been one of my favourite levels since the first time I played the game back in 2004. Also, apparently Torn is now a stripper. Always wondered what happened to her after Crash 1. You know how I just praised Crash Twinsanity for having one of the most fun levels in the series? Well, now it's time to blast it for having one of the most annoying levels in the series. And Agony fucking sucks. It's a level filled with tricky platforming, constantly respawning enemies, and tedious puzzles. For God's sake, when I recorded my playthrough of the game, I spent an entire half hour trying to do this one ball puzzle near the end of the level, and while that was technically my fault, the game never told me what I was actually supposed to do, so I'm still counting that as a level design failure. And to top it all off, it ends with one of the most mediocre bosses in the Crash Bandicoot series. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. There'll be time to discuss that later.
That level's easy, mate. Get good.
You remember how fun the hog riding levels in Crash 1 were? Now here's the same thing on a polar bear in Crash 2. Remember the boulder chases in Crash 1? Here's the same thing again in Crash 2 with better level design. Know what would make these two even better? Combine them. In Crash Dash and Crash Crush, Crash is running away from boulders, just as you would expect in these chase levels. However, Unbearable takes things a step further by completely replacing the boulders with giant polar bears. Not awesome enough for you? Okay, the final bear, how about we bring back Polar from the bear riding levels and have you do the last chase while riding on his back. Oh yeah, Unbearable finishes off with having you run away from a giant polar bear while riding on the back of a smaller polar bear, and if that's still not enough polar bear action for you, then you can try slide jumping back over the pit again after the baby polar bear throws you off at the end of the chase. Once you reach him again, you'll be teleported back to the secret warp room where the entrance is now open for a new bear riding level. Yeah, the bear riding segments are fucking fun. I don't know if I emphasize that enough.
Can't get enough of that golden crisp. It's got the crunch with punch.
Slippery Climb fucking sucks. It's one of the most difficult levels in the original Crash Bandicoot. But did you know that there's actually a level that's essentially a harder version of Slippery Climb? A level that was so obnoxiously difficult that Naughty Dog actually cut it from the game because they didn't have time to tone it down? Introducing Stormy Ascent. Stormy Ascent is one of the worst designed levels in Crash Bandicoot history. Complete with cheap enemy placement, obnoxious hazards, this level gives you barely any room to breathe and absolutely no room to fuck up. And if you remember, in order to collect a gem in Crash Bandicoot, you have to complete the level in one life without missing a single box. Imagine if this level had been in the final game. 100% completion would practically be impossible to achieve, and it's already difficult enough as it is. That being said, I honestly wouldn't mind seeing Stormy Ascent make a return in the Insane Trilogy as an optional bonus level, just as long as it's not mandatory for 100% completion. I really don't have any strong reasoning for why this is my number one choice. I guess it's probably just down to nostalgia. Boneyard, hell, all of the dinosaur levels from Crash Bandicoot Warped are my favourite Crash levels of all time. The background music is one of the catchiest pieces in the game's soundtrack, and I absolutely love the concept of running away from a goddamn dinosaur. Although the hidden gem paths involve a bit of backtracking if you want to get the box gem, it's not as painful as some other examples, and I can tolerate it. Plus, in the later dinosaur levels, you get to ride motherfucking T-Rex! Which can't attack enemies, but makes up for it by being able to smash crates by touching them, and being unbelievably fucking adorable. This has been Equestrian Idiot, thank you for watching, and Baby T is the best Crash Bandicoot character, fucking fight me.